Let's welcome Tim Roper, who is a director of member development at Davis Chamber of Commerce. Davis is a county in Utah, just north of Salt Lake City, and I'm excited to talk with Tim. And Tim, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit better?
Sure, yeah. I am the Director of Member Development here at the Davis Chamber of Commerce. We cover our entire county, which isn't hard. We're the smallest county in Utah, but we have the third largest population in the state. So, kind of some unique aspects there. We have 15 cities here in Davis County, and my primary responsibilities are to go and educate businesses about the Chamber of Commerce and how we can elevate them. We love entrepreneurship and businesses coming to belong to us. And also, I am here to retain our membership. So, any membership needs that you have, that a member would have, I handle those underneath our CEO. I am also on the Clearfield City Council, which is one of those cities here in Davis County. I've been on the council for about a little over, I guess, about 8 years on the council. I'm also on the boards of two different nonprofits. One is PARC, which is the Pioneer Adult Rehabilitation Center, which we advocate, we help adults with disabilities to find meaningful employment. And then I'm also on the board of Open Doors, which helps combat generational poverty. So both those aspects are passions in my life to help people with. I also serve on the board of Wasatch Integrated, which is the landfill here. That's part of my city council responsibilities. But my full-time responsibilities are here to the chamber and advocating for our businesses and helping with economic development here.
Awesome, awesome. And what do you actually do at the chamber? What are your main things that you focus on there?
Yep. So my main focuses are definitely educating people on what the chamber does. A lot we find, people who buy into a franchise, usually the first thing that they're told is to go join their chamber of commerce and get to know other businesses in the area. But people who are just starting a business don't necessarily know what the chamber does or know it exists. So we help. We're strategically headquartered in what's called our Business Resource Center here in Davis County. Every county in Utah has one. Ours is pretty unique and special. We really work hard together. So we're in a building with the Small Business Development Center, which is free business coaching for businesses. Custom Fit is here, which is a program in Utah that helps cover training costs for a business. For any for-profit business, they can go to Custom Fit and get funding for any type of training that they may need. It may be a conference or Excel training, workbooks, anything like that. The Entrepreneur Launchpad is in our building. We are housed at the Davis Tech campus, which is the largest technical school in the state of Utah, program-wise. So we have a great partnership with them. So really, my focus is just to help businesses grow and build the relationships and resources they need to help grow their business, get them the support, whether it's mentorship, is it just resources you need in the community. I specifically run two groups here within our chamber. Business Alliance is a bi-monthly networking meeting we hold here, and I get about 60 to 70 people out to that meeting at a time to come network. It's your BNI fill, 30-second commercials kind of things. Sometimes we do different things. And I also oversee a group called the Lakesiders, which are our ambassador group to the chamber. And I also run a mentorship program. So I have members who go out and introduce themselves to new members of our chamber to help them kind of take them by the hand and show them what the chamber can do.
Awesome. So it's mostly about networking, connecting
Yeah.
people, utilizing that community aspect of local businesses, right?
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize, I use the example, the florist and the mechanic. A lot of people don't realize, they would say they don't have anything in common. But in actuality, they do have a lot in common, and they may have connections that both could benefit from. And my philosophy in networking, I stole it from a TED Talk a long time ago, but it says everybody knows somebody that somebody else should know. So we should always have that mindset in the back of our minds of who do I need to introduce this person to? Who can I get them connected to that will help them be successful in what they're trying to do? I'm a firm believer in karma, and it comes back to you. I try to give without, I'm not worried about getting anything in return, but eventually it does come back to you. I want to get people in our community connected with large businesses, small businesses. There's a lot of potential customers that are at your local Chamber of Commerce. So I advocate for all of them to go get involved with them. It's a great organization to be a part of. And sometimes we, some reason, get overlooked a little bit. And every chamber is a little bit different. Ours focuses both on small and large businesses here in our county, but it's great to get them all connected and helping each other. Our large businesses firmly believe that if they support the chamber, they're creating a platform for small businesses to grow and develop and become more like them eventually, and be able to that pay it forward mentality. So we can all benefit from each other. And so if we come and get connected at the chamber, we can help that to come to fruition.
Yeah, yeah, cool. And from what I understand is chambers of commerce, they are either nonprofit or they might be also sponsored by the government. What about yours, Chamber of Commerce? How
That is
does
a
that work?
fantastic question. Chambers are usually not for profits. So our specific chamber is a 501c6. Usually a chamber will have a 501c3 under it, some sort of foundation. But because of the way we're structured, we're 501c6. So we pay taxes basically. We're due based. So you need to pay your yearly dues to belong to the chamber. So we're not, our specific chamber isn't connected to the government at all, even though we have strong support of our cities and our county commission here. I think the majority of our cities belong to our chamber. There's some small cities, I think, that don't, but our county, all three of our county commissioners support our Chamber of Commerce, and you'll see them. So it's also a great place to come and get connected with your local government officials. It's crucial for a business to do that. We're not just tied to networking. We're basically your lobbyist for your business as well. So we're very heavily legislatively involved. Our specific chamber works very, very well with the local legislators, specifically on the state level. It's not uncommon. We have a legislative affairs committee that meets on a regular basis during the legislative session. Utah has one of the shortest legislative sessions in the United States. It's only 45 days. So we have a very short window to get a lot of work done. So we go up to the Capitol quite a bit. We belong to a group called NUC, which is the Northern Utah Chamber Coalition. So all the chambers in Northern Utah have joined forces, and we sit down once a week during the session with the legislators from Northern Utah and specifically talk to them about what is impacting our businesses. So chambers do a lot more than just networking. We also work. We have the second largest Air Force base in the country here, called Hill Air Force Base, which houses our F-35s. And so that's a really cool place to get involved with. And we have very close ties with them as well. So we have a military affairs committee that we actually partner with another chamber, the Ogden-Weber Chamber, to help advocate for the quality of life for our airmen. So it's just a great way to come get involved with your community and know what's going on. We run a leadership institute out of our chamber that not only brings in good speakers for you to get leadership skills from, but we take you to different areas of the county. So we'll take you to the landfill and let you know some of the issues that we're facing at the landfill, and how you impact that as a business.
Yeah, yeah, totally makes sense. And I've got a couple of, or maybe a dozen of people from Utah around Salt Lake City in my network, and probably they might be interested in learning more about the chamber, especially if they're a small business owner. But I'm wondering, how do you attract new businesses to the chamber? Uh, like from my research, and I haven't really learned a lot about chambers in the past, chambers of commerce, but some of them require businesses to join them. As far as I understand, it's more of it's not mandatory in your case, right?
No, it's not mandatory to join our chamber. There's lots of chambers around. Like I said, we're kind of a unique situation where we cover an entire county. Um, but we have the Ogden Chamber that's to the north of us, and the Salt Lake Chamber, which is the largest chamber in Utah, just to the south of us. And we kind of piggyback off both those metropolitan areas there. Really, it's me going out and advocating, educating it, getting into businesses. People are 63% more likely to purchase your goods or services if they know that you belong to your local chamber of commerce. So I encourage our members to advocate for us and brag that up. We allow them to put a sticker in their window or door so people know. A lot of people put it on their website or in their email signature. I belong to the local chamber of commerce. I belong to the Davis Chamber of Commerce. Not only does that benefit us, that people find out about us through our members, but it also benefits them, that people see them as a good quality organization. You generally don't get bad businesses who come join your chamber. If they do, they get weeded out really fast, because you can't get involved with your chamber and people not get to know you on a personal level. So your character comes out pretty quick of what type of business that you're running. For the most part, I think we have great businesses who belong to our chamber, and I love advocating for all of them and letting people know about the great businesses that they have access to. And that's another part of my job, that I get to just advocate to the general public of, we have some phenomenal businesses here in our county and in our state, and come and support them. I think we overlook a lot of small businesses in particularly. Those are the businesses that give to a lot of charities. And I try to tell people that as you support your local businesses, you're supporting a lot of your local charities here, where they're giving away probably more than they're bringing in. So get to know your businesses and go support them. Find out who's your local businesses.
And what kinds of businesses can join the chamber? Can it be like anything, or maybe like specific kinds?
It can be anything. And I talk a lot about silos and getting out of our silos. And we need to get out of our silos as businesses. We need to get outside of our profession or industry. I compare it to a city. Each city kind of has a unique, different, especially if you go to a big city, there's different neighborhoods that are almost centralizing of themselves to a specific industry or specific people. But until you get outside of that neighborhood and get to know other people, you don't really get the feel of the entire city. So get outside of your industry, your profession, and get to know other businesses, other people out there. So we welcome all businesses to join our chamber. Some chambers do specific more on smaller business or larger businesses. We kind of have a good feel of both. Our chamber gets supported by all our financial institutions, all of our hospitals, our higher education, our local school district supports our chamber. It's really a place for all businesses to come and get supported. Let us know about issues you're facing in the community or in business. We're happy to get you some mentorship if that's what you need. We can get you connected with coaching, or is it legislative issues? Are there regulations that are hurting your business that we can go help with? Utah kind of has a unique thing. We call it a sandbox. So it's a regulatory sandbox. So you can, if there's a regulation that's impacting your business that you feel like is getting in your way, you can go to the governor's office and apply to him, and he can put that regulation on hold for, I think, up to a year. And while the legislature looks at, hey, is this is this a rule that we need to get rid of? Can we change it? What can we do to so it stops impacting the businesses in this profession? So we have connections that way, can lead you in the right direction for a lot of things. So it's really an important aspect of a community that needs to get promoted more.
Yeah, yeah, totally makes sense. Um, if you don't mind, I'd like to take a step back. And I know that you personally worked in more like for-profits companies as a development representative, maybe in sales. I'm wondering, uh, for you, what was more fun to work in that kind of corporate slash like business enterprise side of things, or in this more community focused nonprofit organization?
Great question. I would have to say what I'm doing now is by far the most impactful thing I've done in my life, and really getting down in the brass and tacks of a community. And our businesses really are the backbone of our community. Um, I learned a lot in sales, being in the corporate world. I worked for a company called Market Star, who does work for bigger companies like Google. I worked for Samsung and Hewlett Packard in those roles, as a contracted employee. But I knew that this was a role. When I saw this role open up, I definitely wanted it. So I called the CEO here, and her and I sat down, and it was a good match. And so I've been here for 2.5 years. We've been able to grow our chamber. We have a fantastic 5-member staff here that we work very well together, and we do it because we love our businesses here, and we can't do enough to support our entrepreneurs, our local businesses. They really are sticking their necks out there. So any type of connections that I can help a business make, whether they belong to my chamber or not, I want to help them out, because that's really the personality of a community, is your businesses that are in it.
Yeah, yeah, I do think that this kind of organization may bring a tremendous value for businesses, small businesses, anything like that. But I've got more of a philosophical question for you. Um, it's obvious that giving back to community, helping it thrive, is super important. It's super helpful. But at the same time, it might be seen as focusing on the local side of things and not making a global impact. Again, just it might seem like that. And I'm wondering, what's your stance on having a local but very like tremendous impact on businesses versus trying to reach global scale and trying to help or provide value for people or companies worldwide?
Sure. Yeah, that's another great question. You know, Personally, I want to advocate for all business. Larger businesses serve a purpose, and smaller businesses serve a purpose in our communities. And while each community has its own special feel to it, that's why I love, different chambers and what they do. And they all specifically sometimes focus on different things. We have a small world here, and we need to tie it all together. And whether my focus is on my city council or in my nonprofit work, helping with charities, or here at the chamber, we have a lot to learn from each other in life, and we do need to tie it together globally. And I love breaking down. I'm a disruptor, so I love to break down labels and different ways that we do things to connect each other. And while we live in a world of trying to show ourselves individually, we need to be careful that we don't forget that we are all tied together. And that's why I do love our specific chamber here in Davis County, because our larger businesses do know that the small businesses serve a purpose, and that they serve a purpose out there. So I'm more of an advocate for all business. You'll hear people say, "Oh, only shop local," but you know, I love that, and I love supporting my local businesses. I know in my city of Clearfield, I will go support businesses because I know where that money goes to. But I also don't mind going into another community, another county, and supporting businesses there. One of the things that our chamber does, that we just started to do, is chamber travel. So last year they went to Scotland. This next year we're going to go to Greece and take people there. And you don't have to belong to our chamber to be able to do that, but we want to tie in that global fill into our community.
Yeah, yeah, totally makes sense. I'm also interested in that you mentioned that you also a um, city council member for many years. Is that an elected position? Like, are you like an elected person, or is it like a nonprofit uh,
Sure.
things? Because, like, honestly, I have no idea how that works, and I'm really interested to learn.
Sure. Yeah. No, I love to share it. I'm an elected person. I got appointed for my first year, so there was a vacancy in our city council, and that's how I got involved. And I threw my name in the hat. Before that, I was involved in my local planning commission and was the chair of that group. And they're the land use authority in the city. Um, so I had a few people reach out to me and say, "Hey, you'd be great on the city council." And so I went before my city council and got interviewed with a few others. It's on YouTube somewhere. I was pretty nervous that day, but the city council picked me. But that same year, I had to run for office to keep my seat. And so I've been. Our, we have a unique feel in our city. Um, we kind of have a philosophy. If you've ever read the book Five Dysfunctions of a Team, we read that as a city council. And we decided that's how we were going to be as a city council. We were going to be a true team and do what was right for our city and not just our own personal agendas out there. We all have them. There's certain aspects we want to push, but I'm able to use that platform to do some things. But I'm there because I want my city to be a strong city for my family and for future generations. And it's a beautiful city. It's over 100 years old, and it needed a facelift. So we've worked hard to give it that facelift and turn it into an even more beautiful place to live. So I've enjoyed it. It's my last election; no one ran against me, so I'll take that as a plus that people wanted me there. I hope so. But I have about 2 years left on my term, and in my second term, and so I'm excited to press forward. We're just bringing on some new council members that just got elected to our council, and it's an exciting time for our city. It's fun. You learn a lot about your community in this role, um, and being in that leadership role. And it's very difficult because sometimes you have to sit and vote on things that, and your neighbor is sitting right in front of you, and you know your decision is going to impact them. I advocate for local government just because I think it's more important than any other level of government in any country. And I've learned a lot about other, government roles in other countries. Things are decided really down on the local level. And so, here I tell people, it's just as important for you to know who your mayor is as it is the president of the United States, because we have control over your taxes. Everybody wants their water to come to their house and leave it, and their trash to get picked up and collected and taken off somewhere, which I've learned more about garbage in the last couple years than I ever thought I would. But all those things impact our lives. But until something really disrupts your life, you don't really think about your local government and what goes on there. And so I get to play a role there and help make those decisions in my community.
Yeah, yeah, that is very respectful that you do that too, and find the time for all the other things, including the chamber. And you had an amazing journey, right? You had a chance to be in many, many different spots professionally. Um, I'm wondering, what are your top lessons in business, in life, in helping out others, making an impact? What would you share with the audience as your top lessons?
Probably the biggest lesson I've learned in business didn't come from business. For a while, I helped. We have a fire district that covers three of our cities, and through my city council role, became the chair of the fire district. And the fire chief always told me, "Hey, if there's ever a structure fire, come slip in the back of my truck, and don't bug me. Just sit there and observe." And I observed things, and after he answered a lot of questions that I had, it was soon after this that I became the chair of the fire district. But I learned more about leadership that night and just connections. He has to know, he sits back from the fire a little ways, and he knows where every firefighter is in that situation, and knows how long they're only allowed to go into a fire for so long before he has to pull them out. It's a really short window, 20-30 minutes, that they can go in, and he has to constantly switch out people. So he has to know where they are all the time. And so I learned a lot about leadership there. It was probably why I wanted to really make a move from being in the corporate world to where I am now, because I wanted to help kind of make that impact out there and show, real leadership skills on a personal level. And those sadly can get forgotten in the corporate world. Not that it's a bad place to work, and I enjoyed my time there. I learned a lot. But in this role, I'm able to just kind of, whether it's my political role or in the chamber or in a nonprofit, working on the boards there, just to take a step back, see how you're impacting people. Um, you know, we've got to we kind of got to lower our egos sometimes, remember that we're all human out there, and let's make some real connections out there and build upon those things. And I think those are real leaders. And you don't have a title, to me, doesn't mean anything. It's your character. It's your, how you're leading out there that really means more to me. You can be a subordinate and still be a great leader out there. If you're, Simon Sinek talks about it a lot, of looking to the person to the left and right of you. And I really like that aspect of it. Just what are you doing to impact your day-to-day life and to make a difference every day in your life? And that's been the biggest lesson to me.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Um, do you have anything you wanted to share as a last word before we end? Just like anything you want the audience to hear or to learn about either the chamber or any life lesson, anything like that.
Sure. First off, just thanks for the opportunity to be on here. I love advocating for the chamber. I love getting to know other people. Connecting kind of is a lost art out there. I tell my kids' teachers all the time, this is something that should be maybe taught in schools, on how to connect with people, how to network and get to know people. We have so many awesome tools out there to get to know each other, but are we using it in the right way to actually pull those connections offline and get to know each other in person? We have so many ways of doing that. This and networking meetings and groups like the Chamber of Commerce to be able to do that. And I will always strongly advocate, whether I'm here working for a chamber or not, advocate for your local Chamber of Commerce. I encourage businesses to go, there's chambers all over the world. Go get to know your local Chamber of Commerce and see how you can benefit from it. What can you contribute to it? What are we all doing to join forces together? It becomes cliche that because we use it so much here, but the rising tide lifts all ships. So as businesses, we need to unite and be, help each other out and benefit from each other. So that's truly a role that I love. So I will continue to advocate for that, of just go get to know your Chamber of Commerce and see what you can do there. See what you can do for your community. You don't have to be an elected official like me to do things. There's lots of ways to get involved in your community, but that's where we're really going to help our future generations blossom, is by contributing to our communities.
Amazing. Yeah, and when I'm around the Davis County, I'd be excited to also meet in person.
Absolutely, would love to do that.
Sure, sure. All right, man. Thanks for coming. Thanks for sharing all that you shared, valuable lessons, interesting things about the chamber. Glad to have you here, and thank you again.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.